Warner Brothers solemnly swears that it's up to no good. Mario and Sonic at the Olympics is officially dead, and why Ubisoft might just barely pull off Star Wars Outlaws. I'm Ash Dixon, and this is Ginx News. Harry Potter is getting a Quidditch game, and no, stop! Why does it look like a mobile game, for God's sake? Warner Brothers needs to fetus deletus this thing before it comes out. Because people have been hungry for a Quidditch game for, well, decades now. When Hogwarts Legacy exploded onto the scene a couple of years back, Quidditch seemed like an obvious addition. Yeah, you learn some spells and uncover some secrets, but let us score some sweet goals while being cheered on by magnitude. Pop, pop! Sadly, Avalanche decided to deprive us of such joys and explained it away with two lazy lines. Oh, someone hurt themselves and all Quidditch is cancelled. And despite people kicking up a right stink about it, luckily for Avalanche, the rest of the game was rather spellbinding in pretty much all other aspects. But surely they'd add it later down the line in some nice free update. After all, it made $2 billion in revenue. They could afford a nice gesture or two. Ha 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 ha. No, don't be silly. Instead, Warner Brothers enlisted another one of their developers, Unbroken Studios, to make a standalone title, Harry Potter Quidditch Champions. And look, I could maybe get behind the idea, a fully fleshed out Quidditch game with an in-depth career mode, competitive multiplayer, and all buttoned up with the stunning visuals of Hogwarts Legacy. Man, people would guzzle that down like butterbeer. And so you can imagine people's reactions when they were presented with this. Because holy Fortnite, waterfall from grace. I know it's meant to be a callback to the classic Harry Potter Quidditch World Cup on the PS2, but goodness guys, maybe don't just port the damn thing over. And to clarify, this isn't a mobile game. It's on Xbox, PlayStation, and PC. And it's not like the gameplay in the trailer looked awful. In fact, it's kind of hard to judge the gameplay at all because it made up like 10% of the trailer. Most of the runtime goes towards the animations and cosmetics, again, like a shoddy mobile game. Oh, but make no mistake, Clash of Quidditch here ain't no free game. It comes with a $30 price tag, or well, $40 if you have no self-respect and pick up the deluxe edition. And that's where for a second it looked cataclysmically bad, because what's advertised in said deluxe edition? Plus 2,000 gold, which is a great way of making everyone think it's packed with microtransactions. Luckily, that ain't the case. Over on the FAQ on their website, it clarifies that gold is usually earned in-game and cannot be purchased with real money. Also, they're clearly trying to reassure people here, as it also reads, there are no plans to include microtransactions in the game at this time. Why? Nice of them to leave the door open. I'm sure we can trust the company that wants to make Hogwarts Legacy 2 a live service game. But maybe I'm just being too harsh. The game is set to launch on September 3rd, and perhaps you're curious to give it a go. Maybe you love Harry Potter, maybe you loved Hogwarts Legacy, maybe you're excited. Let me know what you think of the trailer down in the comments. Rest in peace, Mario and Sonic at the Olympic Games. As you may have noticed, we haven't had a Paris edition this time around, which is a shame because the drag queen from the opening ceremony was one spiky hat away from a very speedy cosplay. The license for those games haven't been renewed by the International Olympic Committee, and we now know why. It's because, drumroll please, money. That's according to Lee Cocker, who worked on almost every entry in the series. In an interview with Eurogamer, he said they wanted to look at other partners and NFTs and esports. Basically, the IOC wanted to bring it back to themselves internally and look at other partners so they would get more money. Now, I get why the IOC would want to look into esports, and it ain't because it's what all the kids are into. It's because, again, drumroll please, money. And as of last week, the Olympics esports series was born. But NFTs, apparently this is what they ended up with. Yeah, digital pins of the Olympic mascot, Frigga. Why play a fun game with two of the biggest characters in gaming history when you can buy a pin of this red bird that you can't actually pin anywhere? Plus, NFTs were lame back in 2022. In 2024, they're just straight up embarrassing. Now, I should play devil's advocate a little here because the Mario and Sonic at the Olympic Games series was kind of going in the same direction as FIFA/EAFC in that each entry was essentially the same game as the previous one. And each entry sold less too. The 2008 game sold 13 million, 2010 sold 7 million, 2012 sold about 3.5 million, and fast forward to the last edition and it sold less than than 1 million copies. So in reality, there's every chance that the IOC just didn't see the value in continuing the partnership, which is a real shame because I thought they were always decent, fun, family-friendly games. George, Luca, and Rob played it on our Twitch channel a couple of days ago, and I'm not gonna lie, I was a little insulted when they didn't invite me. That was until I found out that they weren't playing the one on the Wii, where you just sprint by aggressively flapping the Wiimote until you had carpal tunnel. But I guess that just goes to show what happens when you rest on your laurels. I also think it's a shame we're not just getting the straight-up Olympics games on consoles anymore too. Do hit us up in the comments if you remember those. It's time for the Quickfire Round, and first up, reviewers have gotten their hands on the first 4-ish hours of Star Wars Outlaws, and it's a bit of a mixed bag, which, considering it's a Ubisoft game, isn't all that surprising. The general vibe is that mechanically it feels very dated, with boring gunplay and AI with the brain capacity of Jar Jar Binks, but on the flip side, and arguably the more important one, it does feel like Star Wars, and considering it's an open world game, this may be our best opportunity to just sit down and fully immerse ourselves in a galaxy far, far away. Next up, Jackbox Games finally have a launcher, because there's nothing more fun than trying to find your favorite game and proceeding to open up the wrong party pack like 3 times in a row. Instead, you can now have it all in one free, easy to access place, the Jackbox Mega Picker. Obviously, you still need to buy the individual party packs or the upcoming Naughty Pack, which looks to be quite the vibe. And finally, this arcade cabinet is worth $400,000. Why? Because inside, you'll find $400,000 and a handgun to protect your prized stash. This is what Western Australia Police discovered after a bust on a bikie gang member a few days ago. Now, funnily enough, the Daytona USA cabinet itself goes for around $12,000. And according to our producer, Daytona USA was actually pretty good back in the day. And it was directed by Toshiro Nagoshi, who created the Yakuza games. And as we discussed on Monday, that's getting an Amazon TV show. I'm already getting lots of hate for my take on that trailer. But that's fine, I feed off of that. Feed me more in the comments, or be nice. I like a bit of praise too. Either way, like the video, hit that subscribe, and we'll be back on Friday. See ya.